Welcome back to The Chatter. Keeping track of your money is not getting any easier. So we've invited Russell Olsen from Larson and Company, PC, to help us figure it all out. Welcome, Russell.
Hi, Russell.
Welcome.
Hello,
Stacy and
thank you.
Natasha know you well, but we have never met until today. So I'm Angie.
Angie.
Hi. So tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
So I'm Russell Olsen. I grew up in Spanish Fork. I was here when it was a small town.
Not
You're a
small
Don?
anymore.
I am a Don.
Okay.
I grew up on a sheep farm on the East Bench, and Dad always told me to go and get an education, and I guess I followed what he said, and I went and did that, and I learned how to be an accountant.
Okay.
So now
That's
I'm
smart.
a CPA here in town, and I do a lot of taxes, a lot of audit work, just
So you're
accounting stuff.
about to get crazy
Really
busy.
Yep.
Okay, not already.
I'm
Yeah, when does it start? Like, when is it like really big high for that?
The way we do it at our office, it's about February 1st is when we really start, bringing the clients in and gathering
Going
their
through
stuff.
everything. I noticed that we're just getting our W-2s out to the employees over at Clower Dental, so I figured people are going to
It's on the
start.
way.
Yep,
Yep.
So we could talk taxes,
we
but
could.
let's not.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
So besides taxes, what is your expertise? What other things in your office do you guys do?
Well, I have at one point in time been, I've done some financial advising. I've been
Okay.
licensed to do that. I got busy enough with the CPA stuff that I don't do that anymore, but I have done that.
Okay.
In terms of investing in securities and
Okay.
that kind of thing.
Well, I think that was kind of the interest here today also, because you've been given advice as an advisor. What are some of the common mistakes that people are making with their money?
Well, I think it's not going to come to as a surprise to anyone that when you fail to plan, you're planning to fail. I don't know who said that. I have to give that kudos to whoever said that. But when it comes to money, that's what we do. Like we don't think about it.
And think that it's just going to be there forever, and maybe there'll be a big mishap or emergency.
Well, there's going to be that, but it's not going to happen to us.
Right.
It's going to happen to somebody
Happens
else.
to other people.
Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
So what's the best way to plan for things like that?
Well, if you're human like me, I'm not I know I'm an accountant and I'm supposed to be all like
Perfect at what you
Yeah.
do. Yeah.
money
You have a
guru and all
spreadsheet
that.
for everything?
Well, I do, but
Doesn't always stick to it, right?
I'm human, and just like everybody else, I lack discipline sometimes. You just
That's
sort of
good to hear.
I know it is.
It's kind of comforting.
well,
Yeah.
So yeah, you're not alone. Nobody's alone in the inability to just have a little bit of discipline and put money aside, spend less than you make. I remember one time I was asked to give a presentation on personal finances, and I stood up and I said, spend less than you make. And then I sat down. Now then I got up, that was
Yeah.
a silly little way to
Right.
start it, but then I got up and finished. But that really is all there is to it. You spend less than you make, and you'll be fine. So back to the discipline though, since I'm not super disciplined like everybody else, I have to just be disciplined once by setting up something that happens automatically. For example, just a transfer from the checking account to the savings account to make sure that we've got that emergency fund, or if we're saving for something specific. But I do it, I set it up and I make it automatic so that I don't have to have discipline
You're not
anymore.
making
Yes.
like the conscious choice.
Right.
You're just making it
Because if we
Mm-hmm.
do, when it comes between this trip or this extra
Future
thing at
savings.
TJ Maxx, then you don't have to make that choice. It's already made for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Well, sometimes that's a difficult conversation between, partners, spouses. I mean, how would you advise to bring that up, or how often to have that conversation and say, this is the spending for this,
right.
for the month, either it's budget or
Instead of
not
budget, you
for
had a
kids
good
or-
phrase. What do you use instead of that?
I like to call it a spending plan, because any more people that hear the word budget and they just cringe and don't want to think about
We
it.
feel like suddenly restricted.
Yes.
And we think we're an adult. I can do with my
Right.
money what I'd like. But a spending plan,
It's
if-
how
if
am I
this
going
wasn't
to
in the
utilize
plan,
that money?
yeah,
Right.
I love it.
I have to tell you guys how big of a simpleton I am. This is how it worked for me the best.
Okay.
Because I'm visual
Yes.
and all that. You can put a budget on paper, and that's great and good, but then you don't have that with you all the time.
Right.
The thing that worked the best for us, and I'm not saying that I do this now, but it worked the best when we basically took the cash out of the bank that we needed, that we had to spend that month on whatever, groceries, gas, whatever, and we just put it in envelopes.
That's what
And I
I
realized that
Stacy
is
does.
so,
Yeah.
like,
My daughter does that too.
but that worked so well for us.
Because a card to me just,
You don't
Like,
see it
There is
coming and
something
going.
to that, though.
Yeah.
It's a lot harder to spend a big bill if it's, maybe a 50
You
or
know
100
I've
that's
got
set
my
aside for
100 in
something.
here, right.
And it isn't electronic. I mean, the plastic is pretty easy to just do the transactions, and then the numbers start adding up, and then it's kind of the aftermath. You're like, oops.
And all the subscriptions and different things like that. Sometimes I look at that on my bank statement and
Yeah.
I'm like $6.99, $3.99, $4.99, but all those add up
Add
as
up.
well.
I think it's a good visual too, Russell, with kids. I remember bringing my check home and I had my envelopes and I spread the cash out on the floor and helped one or two of my kids like, so let's start putting it in envelopes. And there were more envelopes than there was money. Or let's say, this envelope is for clothes and there's, let's say, $100. Okay, what are 4 kids' needs this month? Whose needs need to be filled? And they were all
Yeah.
in on that decision. So then they could be like, well, he needs shoes. I only want
A shirt,
a shirt.
right.
Or, and it was kind of like all coming together.
No,
and
I
then
think
they,
it is important that everyone
yeah,
has
and
a
then they didn't
say
come to me
and a knowledge.
and say, hey, I need money for this, because they knew the money's budgeted if it's there. So I think it's a good plan for kids.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Well, as we are on the heels of tax season and maybe overdid it on the holidays, what other advice would you give for maybe organizing for taxes or keeping things in line for the holidays?
Well, I would just encourage everybody to just be patient. Like, I remember some time ago, I used to get the amortization schedules for like my mortgage and different things, and I would just look at them and I would think,
Never.
this is never going to end. Like, I sat there and stared at it, like staring at it was going to pay it off.
Right.
Yeah.
But I just remember just wanting it so bad for it to be paid off, but it's not, and it still isn't. Like,
Yeah.
it's just, you
Right.
just have to be patient. Don't beat up on yourself. If you screwed up during the holidays, just take a deep breath and start paying it off.
It's
and
never
be
too
patient.
late, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, if somebody wanted to talk a plan or long-term goals or taxes or any of those things, how can we best get a hold of you?
Well, my office number, call Nikki down at the office and she'll
Okay.
set up an appointment.
Okay.
I'm afraid she knows my schedule better than I do.
Okay.
So I would
And
love
you're just
to,
on Main Street.
just up right there on Main Street, and I would love to talk to you about anything.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
All
they've
kinds of finances.
Definitely given some good advice over the years. When I talked to Nikki today, by the way, just to confirm that you were joining us, she said that she was just coming back from corporate. So you're in Spanish Fork, but there's a couple of other offices,
Yeah.
correct?
we have an office in South Jordan, which is probably the main office, and we have an office in Moab and in St. George.
Okay. Years ago, I feel like you used to have one in Delta. No, did you still
We
have
did.
one? Okay.
Good.
And that office
Wow.
is still there.
Okay.
In fact, Todd Holt, who
Okay.
is from here, went down and he actually owns that firm now and does a great job.
Fantastic. Okay.
Good. Well,
That's
good
how
luck.
old I am.
Good luck these next couple of months.
Thank you.
Get
May
some
you come
sleep.
up for air come April 16th.
Yeah.
Well, your
You have the-
calmness
you
and
can have the
demeanor makes me
chains.
feel calmer about my spending plan, so
Well-
I'm going to give it a shot.
as we speak, I'm mentally preparing for tax season.
Okay,
And it's
good.
going to be the best tax season ever.
Oh, good. I like the positive attitude.
Me too.
Thanks so much.
Yep.
Next on Studio Chatter, helping the teens in your house to set good goals may not be that hard. That's coming right up.